Hey guys, so we have just pulled out the motor and manual transmission out of a 2001 to 2005 Honda Civic basically. So in this video, I'm gonna show you, this motor is blown, so I'm gonna show you how to disconnect the transmission from it. And then what we're doing is, we got a new motor, which is right there, and we got this motor out of our parts vehicle that was automatic. So we took it out. There it is, good, nice, clean motor. So we're gonna put this motor onto this transmission and subframe. I'm gonna show you how to put it all together, how to set all this up for reinstalling it back into the Honda Civic, which is right there. This is actually an Acura el, which is the exact same thing as the Honda Civic. Same body, same motor, same transmission, everything's the same. So don't get confused there. This is a Canadian model, but it is a Honda Civic. Okay guys, so the absolute first thing we gotta do is we gotta remove the motor and the transmission from the subframe that it's sitting on, because this motor did come out underneath. That's how you get these motors out. So we got a chain hooked up. It goes in behind this motor mount here. See, and we just got it hooked up like that. So that works, and that way it's out of the way here of squishing anything. And then on the other side, we just have it, we had to take this coil out. We just have it going through the alternator bracket there like that. Okay, so we're gonna lift this up so the motor and everything is up in the air. Okay, I lifted it up a little bit. It seems to be going up pretty straight. The trick here is to balance it, right? So automatic transmissions are heavier than manual ones, so it you kind of got to figure out the right spot. You know, on manuals or in automatics, you might have to hook it up to like a bolt here somewhere on the end, or possibly here to the hanger. But in our case, that seems to be working. So we're gonna unbolt these on one side and on the other side, right from the motor and the tranny, like these mounts. And we should be able to lift this up and slide this whole subframe out. So I'll do that right now, guys, starting now. Okay, got that disconnected. And on this side, we just disconnected it right from there. So now you should have a buddy to help you balance this motor. But anyways, you just start pumping up, get it up in the air. There it goes. Okay, engine's in the air, so we can totally slide that out right now. So I'm gonna slide that frame out, and then I'm gonna lower the engine onto the ground in between those two arms, so I can drive that thing right out. And I'll have the ability to, you know, put the engine on its side or whatever I gotta do to separate the engine and the transmission. So I'm gonna do that right now, set it all up, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay guys, there it is. Chains are removed. It's sitting on the ground all by itself. So basically, this is where it splits, right here, right? So you're gonna have to kind of look around, and you know, you gotta start removing bolts. So like, you got a bolt there, you know, little 10 mil, and this little bracket's gonna come off. Like, we're eventually gonna tip this motor forwards. We'll get a piece of wood to support it. But so start removing the big bolts. Anything you see, right? One right there, one right there, one right there. So we're gonna remove all these, and then once those are out, I'll show you how to tip it over. Okay, so we got all the bolts out that we could see on that side. We got a little mat like this. Now you just tip this motor over, and that's that. There you go. Okay, so now with it on its side like that, see, we can remove 1, 2, 3 over here. We have to remove this shield. There's a bolt there. So we'll do that, and then we're gonna have to tip it over the other way. So I'll remove all those. Okay, that took no time at all. So I got all this off. I got this bolt off for this bracket. Basically, we're gonna tip it over the other way now. I got a mat ready. It's pretty obvious how I'm tipping it, so I'll do that right now. Okay guys, so I'm gonna flip it over. Really nothing to it. Okay, that's that. Okay, so now on this side, see, we got some good access. You know, check for all the bolts. So we basically got this, that, and that left. That shield should come off, and then we're gonna push it back the other way so we can split the tranny and the motor here. Okay, removed all that. Everything worked out good. Got the cover off, came right out. All the bolts are out. So I mean, this thing is ready to come apart. You might want to get a buddy to hold the motor for you while you kind of wiggle this off. So I'm going to do that right now. Ready? Like it's trying to fall onto this transmission here.
Oh, you got it, eh? And that's how you separate the transmission from the engine, doing it the problem-solving way. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk or not.
Okay guys, so here is the transmission. It came off no problems. All this is good. The clutch was changed on this car about a year ago, so it's a good clutch and stuff. So on the motor here, we're basically gonna have to remove this whole entire thing. Here, I'll show you on the other motor. See the new motor that's going in, everything's completely different because this motor was connected to an automatic transmission. So we're gonna go back to the other motor right now over there, and we're gonna start pulling all of that stuff off, guys. Okay guys, so we gotta get all this off now. So the first thing we did, we took a permanent marker, see, and we just made a line. So that way there's no guessing games after. Okay, so what you gotta do now is you get yourself a flat bar here, and you can get a buddy. So you put it in like this. You get a buddy to hold it really, really good. And then that way you can get these nuts off, or these bolts off, so this doesn't spin on you.
I'd love to hold that. I thought you'd never ask.
All right, let's do this. Okay, so I got my buddy holding it, just so you get the idea. Here we go. So you go around, you do that to all of them.
That's what you do.
Okay guys, got the clutch off. See, it's right here. So what you do is, everything when you take it off, you just put it all in the same order so you don't mess anything up. So we got that there. So now we got a 17 mil like that. All right, let's start pulling these off. And we're gonna get our buddy Ryan here to hold that again, just like last time.
Yeah, I'm trying, buddy.
Okay.
I guess it's so much pressure. You want me to try turning the wrench?
No, I got it. The one came off.
Oh, you did?
All right, so just like that. So you got to do that to all of them, guys.
Every single one. Every last one of these guys to get it all the way off.
All right, let's do this. Okay, and then this just comes right off, guys. Ooh, ah. Just like that. Nothing to it. So like if you were gonna put this thing back onto this motor, right, you would put it on the exact same way. Like you wouldn't want to put it on and turn it over. You know what I mean? But in our case, it's going on a different motor, so I guess it doesn't matter which way you put it. Hopefully this thing's balanced enough where everything will work. I've done this before and I've never had a problem, so. Okay, let's go over to the other motor now, guys. Okay, guys, so here's the new motor. I decided moving a motor is also very, very important. So I'm gonna show you guys how to move it. So I'm gonna grab it with my hands with gloves on. One hand here, one hand by this bracket. And on the other side, I got my buddy Ryan here. So he's grabbing it by this hose and by this hose. Okay, you guys ready? I'll show you how it's done.
It's another day at the gym.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
Beauty.
That's how you move a motor, ladies and gentlemen, the right way.
Okay guys, here we have the two motors side by side. As you can see, this one has no oil leaks, nothing. Definitely the better motor, plus it runs. So now what we got to do is we got to pull this off. Same procedure as with the other one. The only difference is here you just put a screwdriver in like that, and that's that. Okay, I'm going to remove this thing, and then we're going to take a good close look and make sure there's nothing else that's different between automatic and manual, and we're gonna, start putting all this together. Okay guys, so we got our motors side by side here. So now I'm about to put this on. I just want to point something out. Like, this honestly doesn't matter, but so there's these two things here, right? So this one, when I took this off of the old motor, see, so that one lined up with this little hole here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on the same way. So I'm gonna line this one up with this little hole. That way it's on the same. Like, it honestly shouldn't matter, but that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, let me throw that on right now. Okay guys, so I got this on, and I got these like finger tight, but they're a little bit loose. Then you kind of grab it, make sure it's sitting in all the way, right? So now it doesn't call for this, guys, but I'm gonna put Loctite on these. So each one's gonna get just a drop of Loctite. So that's what I'm doing. Like I said, it doesn't call for it, so you don't have to put the Loctite, but I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite. And then as far as torque specs go, so we're gonna torque these two. And if you don't know how to use a torque wrench, subscribe to this channel, and there will be a video on how to use a torque wrench. Okay, so we got drive plate to crankshaft bolts, 54, see right here, and that would be foot-pounds, right? These are foot-pounds. So 54 foot-pounds, guys. So the way we're gonna do these is we're gonna basically do them like, all to like 15, then all to 35, and then we're gonna do them all to 45, and then we're gonna do them all to 54, and that will be the final, right? We got the Loctite on already, and we flipped the motor over, so this way, we can use the bar or whatever again to stop this from spinning. There is a special tool you can buy to like stop this, but we don't have one, so we're just using a crowbar. Okay, and as far as the order of these go, so you would basically tighten them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That would be your order. And then you do it again, tighter and tighter each time. Okay, I'm gonna do that off camera right now, guys. We're gonna tighten that up, and then we're gonna move on to the clutch. Okay, guys, so next we're putting the clutch assembly on, or back on, I guess. So basically, you do need a tool, which we don't have, so I'll show you how to do it without a tool. It's a tool that positions this right in the center, because that's where it needs to be, but I'll show you how to do it without it. It is possible. Okay, so remember our marks we made earlier? We're gonna line those up. So there's one mark, there's the other mark. Makes things a lot easier. Okay, you kind of center this with your finger. You grab these bolts. For now, you're just gonna get them on. Just finger tight. Just tight enough so you can still move this. See, like that. Okay, guys, so we got these basically finger tight. We got them just tight enough where we can move this. See, but when we move it, it stays, so it doesn't like slide. So now what you have to do is, it's gonna be hard on a phone here, but you have to center it perfectly. There is like an alignment tool, you put it in there and then it gets it perfect. But if you got a good eye for centering things, you can basically center this perfectly. So I'm gonna center it right now by eye. So I'll turn off the camera for a sec. Okay, guys, so just using a permanent marker like this, right? I put that in there, and then I was able to just move it a little bit whichever way. And according to my eyeballs, this thing is perfectly centered. If it's not, it won't fit, like it won't slide into the transmission, but trust me, it is. So you can do it without the tool. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start tightening these bolts. So we're gonna just tighten them a little bit more right now, just so that doesn't move on us. So I'll go around, I'll give it a little bit of a tighten, and then I'll tell you the torque specs. Okay, we got those pretty tight now, so nothing can move. So as far as sequence, right, same thing as the other sequence. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back around again. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so the clutch pressure plate to flywheel bolts are 19 foot-pounds, guys. So we're gonna get those to 19 foot-pounds. First, we'll do them all to 10, then we'll do them all to 19, and that should be that. And guys, I just want to say these books are incredible. Get one for whatever car you're working on. I highly recommend these manuals. Okay guys, the clutch is all on, everything's good to go here. I'm just looking at these motors, just making sure that everything is the same, and everything is exactly the same. I can't find any differences anymore. So I'm ready to put this transmission on to this motor, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this motor out of here. We're gonna put it over there. It's got all the tags on it, so we're still gonna need it for later when we're hooking things up. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this, line all this up, and I'll show you how to put that into that. Okay guys, we got everything set up to put this back in. So we just got a piece of wood under here to kind of, you know, straighten this out. We got this wood holding it so it doesn't fall. Obviously, you're gonna need a buddy to hold the engine so it doesn't tip over. So basically, this is ready to slide in. The only thing you gotta make sure is these things here. So you got one there and one there. So sometimes, you know, when you're pulling this apart, you could have one of these stuck in the transmission and you don't realize it. And then there's two of them, right? Trying to go into each other and it doesn't work, and you know, you're ripping your hair out because it doesn't fit. But as far as I can tell, as long as this thing's right in the middle, which according to my eyeball is, this should just slide right in, guys. So we're gonna basically start sliding this together. Okay guys, well, as you can see, that went in no problem. Took about 2 minutes to slap it together. So now what we got to do is we got to get the bolts in and start, you know, tightening this together. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay guys, so we're just, you know, taking all these big bolts and we're slowly putting them all in and snugging them up. So that's what we're doing now. So I'll put a few in, I'll snug them up, and I'll show you what's next. Okay guys, so we got all the big bolts in, front and back here. Very happy with that. Okay, now we're gonna tip this thing over forwards. We got a few things underneath, so I'll do that. Okay guys, we tipped it over, so now we take this thing, right? And that just slides in there. Like so, right? And then that gets a little bolt there. See, just like that. And then we take this bracket, guys, and that just goes just like that. So I'm going to screw that in, tighten everything up, and then flip the motor over and put, you know, this bracket in on the other side, and it gets a little bolt like this for that. And then guess what, guys? That's it. And then we got to start setting up to attach it back to the frame. Okay guys, so we drove this thing in again. We got the chain hooked up just like before, right to this alternator bolt. And then we got the other one on the other side connected to just underneath this hanger here, right to that bolt. So we're gonna lift this engine high enough to get this subframe underneath it. And we actually took a pressure washer and cleaned it because it was pretty oily. So it actually looks super good now. There's the old motor. There she is, guys. Okay, so we're gonna do that right now. Let's slide that in. Okay guys, so as you can see, we got it at a really good point. This motor mount here, I already got a screwdriver in. So I'm having a hard time getting this to line up, right? So like, instead of using this thing now to get the motor up and line it up, we're just gonna slide a jack underneath right here, and then we can just lift the motor up and line like this needs to line up with that. That'll be the easiest way. So we're gonna line all this up, put these bolts in, and once we got those in, we're gonna tighten them up and put that in. And once we're at that point, I'll show you what's next. Okay guys, so as you can see, that totally worked. So now all we gotta do is put that bolt in instead of the screwdriver. Pretty straightforward. So one thing I like to do here is I wanna get this board underneath there to have this motor kind of level on that. That's how we're gonna put it in, with that board under there. So I'll do those two things right now. Okay guys, we got the bolt in. We got a piece of wood there, which really helps to balance this motor out. Otherwise it kind of tilts to the side. So now what we can do is remove the chain, guys. And that's that. This engine is 100% ready to go back into the car. So that does conclude episode number 2 of a motor swap on a 2001 to 2005 Honda Civic, guys. So make sure you subscribe, and in the description there's going to be links to each episode. Episode 1, removal of the engine. Episode 2, changing the transmission over and setting it all up. And episode 3 will be reinstallation, guys. Thanks for watching. I love Problem Solver Garage. I will subscribe.